Good afternoon to each of you and those who will be listening to this recording, and welcome to week 5 of the certification program. Very exciting this week. So as always, I encourage you to give yourself the gift of having this time uninterrupted as much as possible. Choose a location where you're away from distractions, turn your cell phones off, and if you are listening or watching the recording, resist that temptation to multitask while you are listening. So first, here's a review of what you were to complete in this past week. So Monique and I asked you to prep for your next interview, confirm another client for next week coming up. If you're, some of you are getting to finish 4, but if you haven't, confirm. Track your evaluations and follow up to get them done if needed. Listen to and be prepared to discuss and share examples of the sacred gifts of encouragement and wise counsel. And if you were not on the live call and listened only to the recording, you will have written up your debrief in our Facebook group. So thank you for that. So any questions on the homework that was to be completed? Nope, we're good. All right, so we are going to jump right into doing debriefs. So let me just see what we've got here. Deanna, why don't we start with you and just tell us who you would like to debrief.
I will debrief Zulema. So she's a friend. Well, I met her. She's the wife of one of good of my friends, so then she became a friend of mine.
Good. Okay. All right. And when you were reviewing the scores and choosing the 5 or 6 gifts that you reviewed in the interview, was it easy to select, or did you have many results that were similar?
Yes, like 4 of them were very easy to select, and then for the lifestyle gifts, she scored like the same, like 9 for 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It was like, okay, well, I guess 3 of them. So, yeah.
And so you were able to review the ones that were the non-lifestyle gifts and go into detail with those.
Yeah.
Good, very good. And was it in person, phone, or done another way?
Sorry?
Was it in person, on phone, or Zoom?
On the phone. It was on the phone.
All right, thank you. And so what worked well in the interview process for you?
I think everything in general worked really well. She was very open. She was doing a lot of comments as we went through. Yeah, and then like with some of the gifts, she was even like thinking about, oh, well, I guess this is a gift, so I can experiment more. Oh, I can. For example, one of the lifestyle, it was like extraordinary trust. It was like, yeah, I guess I can use that now more. I mean, in the sense, like she, it seems like I didn't say anything, that the humanness part of her was just kind of, she used to do that before, but because now she has a baby, so she's becoming more afraid of things, kind of thing. So that was very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, very insightful for her too. Yeah. And how did you manage the timing of it? Was it 90 minutes for you? Any issues?
Yeah, so this time we took about 82 minutes, something like that. Yeah, it was one of the longest I have done. So
okay. We're always so exact because we've got digital record of the time, right? Okay. Yeah. Would you like to do anything different to have a better experience next time?
I cannot think of anything right now. Yeah, I was pretty happy with how everything
went. So
went.
on that score of 0 to 10, where would you describe the experience for you and why?
I would say 10. One of the things that I was hesitating before was the question of do you think are you gonna do anything or something now that you know this or something like that? Most of the answers were like, no, I'm not too sure. And then she was like, yes, I think so. So I was like, oh, excellent. So I was pretty happy to hear the yes.
Very good. All right. And did you remember to take a few minutes to get grounded and set an intention?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to share with this experience with her this time?
I know it felt pretty good. Not only like to see her that she was kind of excited, but also I felt pretty happy, energized, and pretty satisfied that I was able to help just by taking her through the process. So it was, yeah, I felt pretty good after. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice evaluation that you had from her. So you have done 4, and is there someone else that you're going to be working on next week?
Yeah, so I have a couple more. So now I'm having difficulties setting up times because I get the email, but I haven't been able to go through it. So okay, I'm not putting too much pressure, but that's kind of, so I don't know if they are gonna do it or not, but I will follow up again to
Okay,
check.
very good. All right, thanks.
Deanna, just move your microphone a little bit down or away from your mouth a little bit. It's just kind of doing that popping sound. Yeah, that's great. That would be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Good. And then, so congratulations. So you have completed on the 4 minimum that you're asked to do for level 1. So that's really wonderful. You've got a lot of time to work with more of them because you're not going to start the level 2 clients till after call number 7. So you've got lots of time between now and January to continue to work with others. So that's really wonderful.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about doing it this way with that break, right? Get more practice. Susan, I would love to hear a debrief from you.
Well, I don't have number 3 completed.
Okay, let me just see. So you've done
2.
You've done Paula and Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay, and you debriefed on Lisa and you debriefed on Paula. Okay. So we'll just move on then, Monique.
You know what, only because you haven't been on, Susan, before, and also because not all the students read everybody else's debriefs. Why don't you pick one of them to go through it just for you to get.
So Paula or Lisa.
Yeah.
And I'll guide you.
Okay, yeah, because I don't have what I wrote in front of me.
That's okay.
So I'll pick Lisa because she was kind of fun.
Okay. All right. So with Lisa, Susan, when you were looking at her 5 to 6 scores, was it easy to select or were many results the same?
Well, her top ones were all very definite high scores, so it was easy to pick for her.
Okay. And with Lisa, was it in person, phone, done another way?
We met in person. That was her preference, so that's what we did.
Okay. And what worked well for you, Susan, in the process then in person with her?
It was just being well prepared with my notes and following the process. It's just so easy to follow.
We love that. That's great. And how did you manage the timing in person? The 90 minutes, any issues?
Well, she had a nice big watch on, so I just kept track of it on her wrist. And it took us 70 minutes to go through the scores and the lifestyle, cultural integration that she had.
Okay. And what would you like to do to have a better experience next time, if anything?
Just the process is working, so I'll keep following it.
Yeah. And do you think your next person you'll do in person or by phone, Susan?
I'm pretty sure that'll be by phone.
Okay. All right. And so with Lisa, on a scale of 0 to 10, where would you describe this experience for you and why?
It was 10 just because she was very unique and she could tell me who encouraged her gift, when she started noticing it, and how long the top ones have been with her. Because she had the gift of encouragement, wise counsel, knowledge, and always instances of, like, her aunt was a librarian, so would bring her books. She was more comfortable with books than people. She would go camping when she was married. As long as she could have a book or two, she was fine.
Great. And did you remember to get grounded and set an intention before meeting with Lisa?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to share about that experience with us?
It was interesting when we did the magic wand, because all of a sudden she got very clear. Another big gift of hers is compassion. Just where she chose in nursing. She started in psychiatric nursing, and then she worked with babies, and then she worked with addicted babies, and then she worked with people palliative, like Monique. And she feels that there's somewhere else in the world for her to help people. So that's what she's seeking right now. She's been to Turkey, she's been to Thailand, she's going to Mexico, and exploring her healing gifts.
That's lovely. And so who do you have lined up next then, Susan?
That's Lise, with an E on the end. She's French Canadian.
Okay.
And I've known her for 5 years, also a nurse. And she's completed her questions and that. I've got to get those, and then we'll set up her interview.
Great. Okay. Great. Thank you so much for that.
Today or tomorrow.
Very good.
You're working with nurses, Susan. That makes me so happy that you're working with nurses.
And occupational therapists.
That's wonderful. It's on my dream board to take this, to get back in the nursing community. So I love you doing that.
Great. All right. Thanks very much, Susan. Andrea, we would like to go to you next. So who would you like to debrief here?
I'd like to speak regarding Shane.
Shane, okay. All right. And what's the relationship with Shane?
Shane was a personal training student of mine last year.
All right. And so in working with Shane, when you were choosing the 5 or 6 gifts to review in the interview, was it easy to select, or were a lot of results together?
This time, it wasn't easy to select. Unlike the others, there were 2 that were very high in scores and 4 that were identical and way lower than the others. So I took a risk and discussed all 6 with him, it was interesting to pick those.
And were there some of the extraordinary trust, the lifestyle gifts, were there some of those in that 6?
3 came up. Is that normal? Or normal, that's not the right.
It's not unusual.
Unusual, that's the one I was asking. Is that unusual? So it's okay to have 3 of the lifestyle gifts. Yes, okay, cool beans. Okay.
And definitely, because this is just level 1, right? You're not going through the whole process with them where they would be able to do more discovering and more discerning.
Very good.
Go along. So yeah, I'm sure we had somebody in the last call. It was maybe April that had that situation. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at Shane. So was this in person, by phone?
We met by phone.
All right.
Yes.
And okay. And what worked well for you in this interview process?
Well, the entire process, again, I really want to commend you for a foolproof system. Check this one, check this one, check this one. Like there's no room for error. Although with Shane, I seriously had to resist the urge to coach because there was some uncertainty with him. And I'm like, I can talk. Okay, shut up. Oh, yeah, shut up. So that was the part of the process I found most challenging, was to not even discuss his uncertainty.
All right. And how about the timing for you? Was it up to 90 minutes or any issues with the timing?
No, he's a dude, so short, sweet, to the point, and 61 minutes was the call.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And is there anything that you would do to have a better experience next time?
This time around, we were scheduled for a Friday call, and he reached out to me, I think on Thursday, and said, "Hey, not sure I could make Friday. Can you see me now?" And I was like, "Oh, yep." And I jumped on the call straight away. I was so eager because I was ready for it. What I failed to do was set an intention for the call. So I fall back on I set an intention every morning for my day, and I'm like, oh, let's just carry that forward because I forgot to do it specifically for this call. So next time, again, considered effort to make the intention prior to picking up the phone.
Yeah. And did you notice that during your call? Did that affect anything?
Hell no.
No.
No, this is so on purpose to me. I could do this all day, every day, and be completely content.
Excellent. And we'd like you to do that.
Yes, right.
All right. So giving yourself a score on the 0 to 10, how would you describe your experience?
A 9 because I missed the grounding on that one. Yeah.
Okay. And anything else that you'd like to share about this experience with Shane?
Just gratitude. And he's very, very eager to learn more, which was surprising to me. I mean, this is a big dude. Like, he's got biceps the size of me. Like, he's a big fitness, like, gym guru dude. So to have such a big guy be so intrigued and so interested, and, oh, I definitely want to learn more. Let me know when you're certified. He even spoke of carrying it forward to his son. He's a single dad, and he wants to share this with his son. Now, talk about filling heart space up when you hear that. To have this big, ginormous dude with biceps this big, tell me more, I want to bring it to my son, was very heartwarming to hear.
Great. And I like the fact that you're telling him that we can continue with this down the road, right? When you're certified.
Oh, yeah. Very excited to do that. So that was very heartfelt. Thank you.
Monique, you look like you want to say something or not? No? You're okay? All right. Okay, good. All right. And who's your next client?
Her name is Shannon.
Shannon? Okay. So that takes you into client number 5, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. And how are you connected to Shannon?
Through yoga and fitness. We have become friends over the time.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Excellent. Good to hear. All right, Bruce, let's hop over to you.
Perfect.
And who would you like to debrief, sir?
My daughter-in-law, Madison Cruikshank.
All righty, let's hear about this. So with Madison and looking at her 5 to 6 gifts, was it easy to choose them, or were they grouped together?
Extremely. She actually had 7, Dana, and they all jumped out like crazy from that point of view.
Were they close together, Bruce?
Very close, like literally 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and so much, what I'll say, exactly what she's doing now. It was such an amazing call. We were literally done in about 65 minutes, simply because she has so much been living in her gifts since she was like 10 and 12 years old. She's so incredibly self-aware of them. She's just absolutely doing, like, number 1, gift of compassion. She was 10 years old. She's from Cochrane. At 10 years old, she went down to the Humane Society and started volunteering in terms of walking dogs and taking care of the animals, and then actually started fundraising to bring funds back for it at 10 years old. At 16 years old, 17 years old, she started dating an individual who had addiction issues. She, from that experience, very much going, I'm going to work with addicts, and I'm going to dedicate my life working with addicts. And she is now an addiction counselor that she does full time. And so very much the gift of compassion. She is on purpose with the gift of compassion every day in her life. The thing that was really interesting is her next strongest gift that was, what I'll say matured, was the gift of challenge. And so on one hand, where she's very much has the gift of challenge, gift of compassion for, in this case, the addicts and what I'll say the marginalized people in our society, because she also is on a campaign to save the donkeys. She has the gift of challenge where she will absolutely tell you straight to your face to, in a sense, call you on your stuff. And she has no problem doing it. And so such a unique, what I'll say, sampling of gifts, because she's also got wise counsel, she's also got teaching, she's also got the gift of knowledge that she literally brings it to her every day. And so she's working in the Ontario health system, which she doesn't agree with, what I'll say, some of their practices. So she's very bold about saying this is not the best way to do mental health. And she just had an assessment come back where one part of the assessment was sometimes she's too direct and too bold. And Madison just said, it's who I am, and tough. So it was just amazing. And then to see how she also, what I'll say, really manages the relationship with my son, where, because he'll freak out at times and she'll just let him go. And gift of compassion. And then when he comes down, she'll call him on it. And like, he said, okay, you're right. And so it's just really neat to see. I had a great time with her. Partly I did it on a Sunday, so it wasn't a business day. So I was much more relaxed. She was much more relaxed. It was just an absolutely fantastic debrief.
Oh, that's great. So we're giving yourself a 10, I would think.
Absolutely. And even to the point when we did the magic wand, she came back and she said, Bruce, I couldn't imagine doing anything else than what I'm doing right now. I just get up every day. I feel like I'm on purpose. So I'm doing my magic wand. And that was just so rewarding to hear.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's wonderful. And was it by phone, Bruce, or in person?
It was by phone because she's in Ontario.
Okay. And I'll ask the question, is there anything that you could do to have a better experience next time?
Yeah, not on that one. And I'll say more because of Madison. Like, she was just so self-aware, like very, very specific. Like, she has, I'll say, the gift of compassion, but it's very much towards very specific, I'll say, situations, not others. And she's completely okay with it. Again, gift of knowledge. She's got a thirst of knowledge, anything around mental health, anything around addiction, but you're going to put something else in front of her from a knowledge point of view. Yeah, no, I'm not going to waste my time over there. I'm focused here. So I'll give it a 10, more so because of Madison than myself.
Okay. And I will accept that. All right. And did you take a few minutes to get grounded and set an intention?
I did, very much so.
Okay. And who is going to be your next client, Bruce?
I've got Tammy coming up, and Tammy's a past work colleague and an employee that we worked together in the past.
Okay, very good. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else that you want to share about this experience with Madison?
I'll say, given the relationship and given that she was a family member, and given how she absolutely uses her gift to, quote unquote, manage my son in the relationship, who I obviously know from a different perspective, it was really special. It was really special. I enjoyed it. We had a good laugh.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And April, we'll get to you next, but we'll just let you settle down. And Monique, I just wanted to ask you, from your experience doing this, have you noticed many people saying that someone that young knew their gifts? And
okay, it's a perfect segue, because Dan, I was going to ask if I can do a debrief. So this is a perfect segue. So I'm going to share with you guys the results of a assessment I did. So just one second here. Okay, so this is a young lady who is applying for a job, and her employer asked me to take her through the process. So can you guys see the screen?
yes.
Okay, so look at these, just a sec here, let me just move this up and down. Okay, so look at these numbers. Okay, so you know how we've talked about numbers. Okay, look at this. All right, here's, okay, so what I did is, as she read them to me, she phoned, you know, we called and she hadn't sent them to me. So she's reading them to me and she was making comments like, oh, 0, oh, 0. And so right away I said, oh, I love this. I love zeros. Okay, so right away I wanted to shift the energy from where she was feeling like loser to, I said, this is great. This is going to make this so much easier for us. I was kind of telling a bit of white lie, because as I was looking at this, what came up were a couple of things. One of them was I knew what the job was that she was applying for, and I wasn't seeing a lot of connection here. The other thing is, this girl is in the, when you think about the our human conscious development, she's very much in the succeed, achieve thing, and not so much fulfilling and purposeful. So the conversation for me, this was one of the more challenging ones I've done in years. It was like pulling hen's teeth, because she wasn't of the mindset of really being particularly concerned about feeling on purpose or feeling fulfilled and satisfied. It was very much the achieving my next goal. I went to university, I did this, now I want to do that. It was kind of along that path. So the whole realm of the mystery of this, it didn't land on her at all. So what I had to do was, I started obviously with the higher numbers, the 9. There wasn't anything that she was able to tell me as an example that really led to a concrete, on my part, there really wasn't anything that I came out of this with a definite yes. So the way I framed it back to the employer was that there was potential evidence of, okay, based on a few examples she gave me. So she was 22 years old, and she had been in school up until 3 months ago. So she'd always been in school. The only job experience she'd had was doing retail in a mall over Christmas time on her school breaks. Okay, so very little experience of being out there in life, and then combined with her mindset and her not really being at the place of doing this, it was a great example of where this would not necessarily be beneficial to her. Like she, to do the level 2 process wouldn't really have gotten us much farther. So what I did instead is just shifted towards, based on what you're telling me, it shows some potential evidence of this gift, and then I would describe it, and she was kind of, maybe yes, maybe no, but very quiet throughout most of it. So I just wanted to show you that this is, in comparison to exactly what the experience Bruce just had with a young lady, this is another experience that you might have. For me personally, and for you likely as guides, it doesn't feel quite as, it's just not as juicy when it's this kind of an experience, but it is what it is. And I don't have any attachment to that in terms of whatever it is that she gets from it. My job was to give the feedback back to the employer, and that's what I did. So that's where this can be used really well in an HR type of setting.
Great.
I'll just turn that off. All right, there we go.
Yeah, very interesting. Thanks, Monique. I've actually had ones like that as well. And some people they don't seem to be as interested in their life purpose.
Yeah, it's just part of the levels of consciousness in spiral dynamics. It's very clearly defined, and it isn't good or bad or right or wrong. It's just that they will move, and they will move to the next level. It's just my daughter just made that movement from that level in spiral dynamics to the next one. She just did it. She's 31. So
great. Thanks very much for sharing that. April, are you a bit more settled now? Good. Great.
I think last week I said I was going to share about more about Annie, but it actually is going to be Sandra today.
Okay, very good. All right. And when you look at Sandra's scores, when you're looking at the 5 or 6 gifts, was it easy to select, or were a lot of results very similar?
The interesting one about Sandra is that 3 of her top ones were lifestyle gifts.
Oh.
Like singleness, simplicity, and extraordinary trust came up pretty high. And she's a girl who I've known, but not too deeply. Like we don't know each other well. So I was very curious, but there weren't too many surprises because she knows she's crafty. She's got the gift of planning and knowledge, but writing is really her biggest gift. So I could tell how in person she might struggle with speaking and getting comfortable with people. There is that, in a nice way, kind of awkwardness, but in her writing, she feels a lot more comfortable and able to fuller express herself.
Good, thank you. And was this in person, by phone, or another way?
It was by phone.
By phone, okay. So, April, for you, what worked well in the interview process?
Definitely the script. She's not a super chatty person, so it was challenging to, get a little bit more out of her, but she's very, I guess, black and white. So she could give actual concrete examples, but not really much more. But then when we went into the magic wand, a lot more was revealed because it was more of like an open-ended question. It's like, use your imagination, and things came through that she had been thinking about, and perhaps a possible career she's interested in pursuing. So having her say that out loud affirmed that it was something she really was interested in.
All right, and since she didn't talk too much, how about the timing for you? Was it 60, 90 minutes? What worked?
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I think it was just over an hour, about 60 minutes.
But it sounds like the magic wand one was where some insights came up for her.
Yeah.
Good, all right.
Definitely.
And is there anything that you would do to have a better experience next time?
I think it's good to, I don't know, I guess I'm having experiences where I know people quite well or I don't know them well, and really the best thing out is I can think of is stick to the script and, you know, give people space to share, and if they want to, don't force it.
Good, that's a very good learning. And on a score of 0 to 10, where would you rank this time?
I'll say a 9. Yeah.
Okay, and did you take, sorry?
I think she was happy with the results, and it went well for me too.
Good, yeah, that's what we're looking for is, yeah, and following the process. Monique and I love to hear that, so yay. And did you get grounded and set an intention before the call with Sandra?
Yes, I actually did it with her and just said that all the information that comes through is well received and for her highest good.
All right, and anything else that you'd like to share about that experience with Sandra?
No, I think she's also interested in pursuing further with level 2 as she moves into studying something new and going back to school, so it'll be helpful.
All right, thank you very much for that. And who is your next client?
I have Barbara Koyanagi.
Okay, and how are you connected to Barbara?
She's actually one of my best friends, if not, we're very close. We've known each other since high school, and she's recently gone through a separation. So there's a lot of curiosity and just wondering what's ahead for her and what to pursue.
Great, thanks very much for that. It will be interesting for you as well. Okay, so I think we've gone through everyone doing a debrief. So next I'd like to move on to reviewing 2 of the sacred gifts that we asked you to check out, and I'm pretty sure that some of you have some of these gifts. So we're looking at sacred gift of encouragement and wise counsel. So let's start with the sacred gift of encouragement. So some of the key aspects of this, people often confide in you. They feel safe telling you what's going on for them. Sometimes it's just a natural coaching gift that comes up with this gift of encouragement. This person that has this gift always sees the potential in other people, and it also makes this person a natural cheerleader and encourager, even if your personality isn't that way. Often someone with this gift this will be said to them, oh, can I talk to you? Or I've never told this to anybody before, or I can't believe I just told you that. So sometimes it can just be someone that has these experiences all the time and they don't really realize that this is a sacred gift. So I would like to find out, just by a show of hands, who has this sacred gift of encouragement. Andrea, Susan, Monique. I'm going to put myself in there as well. Great. All right. So let's just find out where you have seen or been using this sacred gift of encouragement. So Andrea, let's just have a little chat from you. Where have you seen this in yourself?
Thank you. My whole entire life, I have had the uncanny ability to see inside someone and see their light, whether they see it or not. And then this beautiful ability to point it out to them. And then the downside to this is they may not want to live into what I see, and I end up getting hurt or frustrated because I want it for them so bad. It's so clear. It's right there.
Yeah.
And then they don't do it. So this has been a process of a gift. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Ever since I was a wee kid, I could pull this out and inspire people to do greater things because it's so clear to me to see.
Yeah. And who else, can someone else give us an example of where they've seen this gift of encouragement? Susan, can you think of anywhere where you've seen it and observed it?
Well, just in my own work. Sometimes out in public. I was in North Carolina in a metaphysical store and talking with the guy in the store at the time. And he ended up telling me something very personal, important to him. And he got emotional about it. I just sort of stood there a little bit shocked and just sort of like remembered someone saying to me about hold the space. So I did that, and he recognized it because when he opened his eyes, he says, "Thank you for holding the space for me."
Oh, that's nice.
So that was like, whoa. I'm going to say kind of like what Bruce referred to about Madison being told she was too bold in that. There have been a few times at work where I've been they're just so close to telling me to stop doing what I'm doing. And all I was doing was listening to people. But it caused problem because they only wanted to see me instead of the other nurses. Yeah. So, and
that's a great example. Yeah.
Yeah, but it, like I said, it was getting to the point of causing an issue, and just wanting to be that cheerleader. When the one thing I really do not like hearing is someone putting themselves down, and like I hope I don't say this wrong, Andrea, what you said about just wanting it so much for them. And then I just become the cheerleader. Sometimes they see it and sometimes they don't, and I just leave it there.
Yeah. Well, good. That's good insight on your part too, right? It's, yeah, when we do see somebody, we think we can really help, but if they haven't asked or we don't have the permission, then, or they're just not going to listen, then it can be frustrating on a few different levels. Monique, you look like you wanted to say something there. Did you want to?
Well, I just love the contrast and the personality differences, because I know both Andrea and Susan, and Andrea's
excellent point. Yeah.
Andrea's the consummate like cheerleader, right? Like her personality is just so, yeah, exactly. And Susan is a very Susan is a different personality in that she holds space and has a more, I would say, like sort of, I don't want to say quiet or making it sound like you're not Andrea, but you know what I mean, right? It's a different demeanor. Mm-hmm. And then Gordon Ramsay, how many of you know Chef Gordon Ramsay? Okay, so he's the Hell's Kitchen, scream, yell at people. He absolutely has the gift of encouragement. This guy is brilliant to watch because he is a great example of somebody with a gift of encouragement who in his personality does not appear to have, he also has a gift to challenge, mm-hmm. and then also has a personality that is not at all concerned about what people think of him or whatever, right? So he is everything he does is to get the best out of his chefs, and he has the gift of encouragement. He sees the potential in them, but he does not have a cheery disposition. So our disposition may be very different. That's why it can look, some people really can't believe they have the gift of encouragement because their disposition to them seems completely out of alignment with it.
Yeah, that's great. A great point, Monique, and it was a nice contrast with Susan and Andrea as well, right? So what kinds of jobs might align with this gift of encouragement? So let's take a look at some of them. Probably the first obvious one that a few of you mentioned is coaching. Can you think of different types of coaching where this could be used? Mm-hmm. Okay, April, can you think of so if we look at this as a gift of a coach would have it, can you think of examples of where they might use this?
Well, I'm just going to refer to myself, and the reason why I became a coach is because everyone just felt safe and everyone felt like they were able to express without feeling judgment. But encouragement is definitely even like a sports coach, where I've seen in my kids, they might not have had confidence in themselves, and the coach does see potential in them. And they, I guess a lot of people are also hard on themselves, and they need that outside perspective from someone who actually knows and can see that there is potential, because they can't see ahead of themselves. But yeah, definitely sports coaches.
Good. And so you're more a life coach, April, than business coach?
Yeah, I'm teetering between the two, because I often say when people come into my car or have coffee with me, it's like a confessional. And I'm not saying anything. They just feel really safe. They know that I'm not judgmental. They open up very easily, and all I have to say what's going on, and they might just start crying their eyes out. So, you know, I recognize and I can really respect that I do have this gift, and that's why instead of just taking on coffee chats and people wanting to sit with me, which is taking up my time and I'm not necessarily getting anything out of it, I said I think I'm going to pursue this life coaching, and it's something that I just started this year.
Very good. Great. Thank you. I just want to make a comment about on one of our Facebook posts, Tracy, Monique, I know you saw her post. She was at a soccer game or something, and I think she wasn't liking what the coach was doing, and she kind of went, you know, stepped way out there and made some comment in the Facebook group that, okay, maybe she got a little bit overexcited and, you know, got a little bit too involved in the game. But you can see that on the sidelines, right? Whether it's a hockey game or soccer, volleyball, or whatever, but some people don't even recognize that it actually is a sacred gift.
I can't even watch those kids' games anymore. You know, like I used to go to those games with my kids, and I would just cry. When I would see a kid score like their first goal in basketball, I had Kleenex. I was just like, yeah, you know, and my kids used to be so embarrassed, right? I was just the consummate cheerleader.
Yeah, that's great. Another place where this sacred gift of encouragement may or may not show up, we had in a few of our Sacred Gifts Certified Guides classes a few months ago, was someone that was a 911 operator. And she definitely had the sacred gift of encouragement. Not so much one of the people she was working with, but when she started talking about it, and Monique and I were just, you know, captivated by what she was saying, because it wasn't something that we really thought about. But, you know, there definitely are other gifts that are there, but really that 911 operator, just having that and, you know, holding that space and keeping that person's attention and just keeping them, you know, focused on knowing that they're going to be able to be helped. So it really came out in a nice way with her, for sure. Yeah, and teachers, we love it when teachers, you know, school teachers or professors or whatever, higher or lower education have this gift. So it's important for that. So what about where it's not a job? Where might we see this gift in action of somebody having that gift of encouragement? Deanna, can you think of it? Even in kind of your family situation?
Yeah, well, now that I think about it, I think my mom has a gift of encouragement. She is a very kind of kind, sweet person, and I think a lot of people go and tell her their issues, and then even for us, as kids, she has always, since we were little, just hold a space for us, and pretty much like she always was able to just let us go, like just encourage us to go to our dreams. Like it's amazing. Like I realize now, it's like, yeah, like this is one of the things that, like, for her, I was able just to go on my own career path without just with her encouragement. So yeah, I think so.
Good. Thank you for that. Right. And Bruce, can you think of any other place where we might see this this gift of encouragement, not in a business situation?
Well, perfect case, Madison also has the gift of encouragement. She uses it consistently with the addicts that she works with. It's funny where, again, in that conversation, I'll say her probably strongest gift is the gift of compassion, which really allows her to go do what she does. But then she can oscillate back and forth with an individual, literally in the same conversation, where going into the gift of encouragement to encourage them, yet then going into the gift of challenge to, I'll say, hold them accountable and call them on their stuff, because she wants the best for them. So back and forth that way.
Yeah. Is she also like that with her friends, Bruce?
She is, very much so. Very, very much so. she's just the way she is all the time, every time, and it's so wonderful to see.
Great. Thanks very much for that. So any other questions or comments about the sacred gift of encouragement?
Keep in mind that you can have the gift for others and it won't necessarily show up in your family. So my mom with us was very strong. There was no indication of any gift of encouragement, but then we would see her with other people's kids and she was amazing. And I remember amongst us as siblings, we used to talk about how, you know, kind of like it was so unfair, because we didn't understand this, that it was really unfair that mom was so quote unquote nice to other teenagers and stuff, our friends, and she would be encouraging them and, you know, follow your dreams. And with us, she was telling us, you're going to do this because I said so. So it really wasn't until I really got this later on that I understood that her gift of encouragement, there was too many issues for her to be able to provide that kind of freedom for us, because she had so many fears around how her daughters would grow up and the choices they would make. But when it came to other people's kids, all those fears melted away, and she absolutely had that gift of encouragement.
That's great. Thanks, Monique. So that detachment allowed her to do that. Great. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to the sacred gift of wise counsel. So the person that has this gift is really good at providing practical solutions. They like to give a practical application of the knowledge that they have. They help others make good decisions. They love solving problems, always looking for solutions, and they can make a really excellent advisor, someone that's giving advice. And when people come to them, they may ask questions like, can I ask you something, or could I get your advice on something? So just by a show of hands, who might have this sacred gift of wise counsel here? All right, so Andrea, let's take a look at, tell us a little bit about how you've seen this gift played out in your life, this gift of wise counsel, rather.
The gift of wise counsel didn't come clear to me until recently. I always thought I was channeling, because I work with energy so often. It's very common for me to channel. So someone would ask something and I'd roll off an answer, and I would even think to myself, I have no idea where that came from. And I chalked it up to, I just thought I was channeling in my energy work. Although it shows up in really strange situations for me, and completely unrelated topics now, that there's just no way in hell I can be channeling that, because it's completely unrelated. So this was one I had to accept recently in me. That's a gift.
Great, thank you.
And not a channeling of healing energy, for example. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it's well, I think that's what's nice about this whole program, right? Is recognizing things, looking at things in different ways than you did before. Susan, this gift of wise counsel, have you seen this in action? Is this part of one of your sacred gifts? I don't know if you had your hand up or not.
No, this is not me.
Okay, sounds like we're happy to get rid of that one. Nope, not me.
No, I think it was me.
And have you seen this in the profession then that you're in, where there's people finding practical solutions, solving problems comes up?
I can't think of anything in the recent, but then I haven't, because it's not me, it's not something I kind of recognize.
Right.
In as many ways it could show up, so I would have to pay more attention.
Yeah. Is there anyone in your family, Susan, that you think might have this gift of problem solving, giving advice?
No, I know my sister and my niece are very strong in planning, but I can't really recall them giving advice or any advice that was wanted.
Yeah, we could go into a whole gender topic on that, but we won't. But go ahead, Monique.
So Susan, if you had a problem that was brewing inside of you, like if you were, you can't decide if you should retire now or 6 months from now or something like that, do you have somebody in your life that you know you could take that problem to?
The only person that comes to mind is Corinne.
Okay. So that might be an example of somebody in your life that has that gift of wise counsel, because typically that's who we go to. A great example for me is Bruce. Probably, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, I reached out to Bruce and I said to him, you know what, Bruce, like, I really want to talk to you. I need to run something by you. And it wasn't a conscious knowing Bruce has a gift of wise counsel. It was knowing I've got an issue in my business and Bruce is the person I want to talk to. Right? So solution oriented. I've done that with Dana as well in the past.
Yeah, good. Okay. Let's just see. So let's take a look at where this gift of wise counsel might show up. Bruce, can you think of some jobs that where we would definitely want to have this person have this gift? Practical problem solving, advice, good advice.
Very much judges, lawyers, the legal system. I mean, it is one of my gifts as well too. And to Monique's point, this was one that was very easy for me because all through my life, people have come to me literally saying, I need your advice, I need your counsel. Okay, fine, what's the issue? But things like any of the legal, any of the medical professions, engineering, same thing, where they're engineering large, big projects, anybody that's got the gift of wise counsel there would be very good at solving the space, NASA down in the U.S., very much so.
Yeah, and we can also think of people, you know, that are giving advice. Even makes me think of financial planners, or you know, even life coaches or business coaches, where you know people are coming to them for advice and really expecting to get good advice, right? Because we don't seek out people where we think, you know, they might have an idea. A lot of people can be opinionated, but this is not that. This is quite different from that.
I spoke to a mortgage broker. Sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
Well, I was just going to say, and to Andrea's point, very much so too, you may not have what I'll say practical knowledge, practical experience in what they're coming to you for, but because of the gift of wise counsel, they bring you the issue, you just have the download and you're able to provide them, again, a very practical, sound solution. Because that's happened to me at times too, where I've done that and I go, where the heck did that come from? Yet it made perfect sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Monique, go ahead. You were going to say something?
I met a mortgage broker the other day who was really clear that her passion about being a mortgage broker was to help young families solve the problem of how to financially meet what's needed to get into a house. And so she really loved that. And then in our discussion, she realized, and I realized, she absolutely didn't have the gift of encouragement. So what she found challenging for her personally was clients who wanted to tell her the whole story, and they wanted to share their past bad experience and all of it. And she said, oh my God, like I could just shoot myself when they stare. I don't want to hear the story. I don't want to hear what went wrong. Don't want to hear all the sad stuff. Just tell me the problem, you know, and let me solve it. And that can be a great indication of somebody who has a gift of wise counsel and not a gift of encouragement. They don't want to hear any of it. Just tell me the problem. Bruce, it's Bruce 100%. It's Colin Sprake 100%. Yeah. It's that, don't tell me, don't want to hear any of that, just give me the problem. Yeah. So it's, and whereas I love both. I'm like, oh, I ask a million details. Tell me this, what about that? What about that? And then I'll be able to say, okay, I've got it now. And you know, that kind of thing. But I love hearing all the juicy details of all their sordid life. You know, it's great.
That's great. And realtors would be another good example as well. When they're really just focused on giving you the best advice, you know, this is the best company to go with, this is the best property, you know, this is good short-term investment, this is a good long-term investment. So when you get somebody that's got that as a sacred gift, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to go to any consultant or advisor who does not have this gift of wise counsel, because it wouldn't really be very joyful for them. Yeah. You know, I don't think they'd feel really great about just doling out the same piece of advice to every single person in front of them, no matter what the situation is, right? They wouldn't feel very fulfilled. But anybody who's a consultant, I would say, is going to have a gift of wise counsel.
Yeah. We would like them to have the gift of wise counsel. Yeah, we would like them. Somebody can have a title, but not necessarily the gift.
That's very true. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So we're in, April, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that you brought up the sharing your opinions, and I knew I was always an opinionated person, but I learned that people don't always appreciate that if it's not welcome. So I would hold back, and either ask permission or just be more wise in filtering what needs to be said. But I definitely resonated with the aspect that when somebody is talking about a problem, like answers just drop in, and not even answers or solutions, but perhaps even questions, clarifying questions where the person might even come up with the solution themselves. So that also, I was gonna say, comes from, I'm like 44 and I have 3 kids, so a lot of people come to me because I've had a lot of life experience as well with raising kids or having kids with special needs, having a business and a family, and life balance and things like that. So I think someone who is willing to share more about their life experience to help others could also come under that umbrella, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think if they're absolutely, if people are coming to them, it could be, as Monique said, it could be the gift of encouragement and wise counsel, right? And you could do this with friends or even business associates.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah. Monique, just unmute.
Teaching and wise counsel can very much present that way as well. So somebody who has a gift of teaching and wise counsel might find that they share their own story with the client. They share their own experience with the client and are able to tell a good story and then, use that ability in helping the person solve the problem as well. Oop, let me shut my phone off here. Yeah, go ahead, Dana.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, are there any more questions? I should ask it that way, actually. Any more comments about this gift? Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to shift gears a little bit. So I'm going to give you a bird's eye view overview of the Level 2 program and give you a little more context in regard to the invitations that you will be sending out over the next few weeks to attract clients to work with in Level 2. So even though you won't be ready to work with a client using the Level 2 process for a while yet, you will need to send out the invitations in the next 2 weeks in order to start planning for how you will work with your clients. So in Level 2, you work from a checklist template, just like you did in Level 1, which all of you have said you're really enjoying. The process is different, however, in that it is systematized, and it is as systematized and structured as Level 1. So in Level 2, you'll be working with a minimum of 6 people, and we will need to receive a minimum of 6 evaluations that indicate that you've been able to understand and follow the system. Now, you can do more than 6 clients in Level 2. If any of the evaluations indicate that you've not followed or grasped the system by the end of your training, then we may ask you to work with more clients before you become certified. So in all this time, this has only happened once before. So there will be 2 separate checklists or templates that you'll be working on in Level 2. So one is working with an individual, and then one is working with a group, and a group is 3 or more. Now, all of you must take one person through the individual process, one-on-one, and all of you need to lead a small group. We want you to have both experiences, and we want you to show competency in both of these processes. Your clients will receive the digital online program, and we're going to explain that more, what will happen in another session. You don't need to know that yet. But in Level 2, the audios from the digital program provide the content or teaching to your client, and you as a guide in training will help them integrate the learning through a series of 4 calls. So the first call with them is just to make sure they're set up for success. before they start listening to the program, and then the 3 remaining calls will be to help them process what they are learning. Now, your main responsibilities as a guide in training level 2 are, first of all, to conduct weekly 60 to 90-minute sessions using the scripts provided for each of the 4 calls that you'll be doing. Another responsibility that you'll have is to be listening to the audio program section that your client is listening to. That is, if you haven't already listened to it, in order to be totally in sync with them. And some of you have already been doing that, so kudos to you. That's just great. The more time you spend learning it, the easier it's going to be to go through it with them. Another thing that you'll be doing is to remind yourself and your client that you are in training and you're not functioning as a life coach. In the level 2 documents, there's a set of scripted calls for individuals and there's a set of scripted calls for groups. Some aspects are the same in both and some are unique to each. Working with a group is not the same as working with an individual. I was just checking a chat there. So your calls are all focused on discussion time with your clients because you're not teaching any data like you did in level 1. However, if you have the gift of teaching, you will see that it will fit naturally with this process as well. After your initial setup for success call number 1, then the client listens to section 1 of the digital program, and then you do call number 2 with them. Then they listen to section 2 of the audio program, and then you do call number 3. And finally, they listen to section 3, and then you do your final call number 4. How long it takes you to complete your level 2 training will be determined how you decide to work with your clients over what period of time. All of your 6 qualifying clients must be Sacred Gifts virgins. However, you can work with some of your level 1 clients as well, or invite to participate in your group training. Now, Monique, do you just want to speak to that for a minute, because we know that would be in addition to, correct?
Yes. Okay, so what that would mean is that a lot of you may have level 1 clients that indicated they wanted to continue to work with them, so you can invite them along. And when you do structure your group, you can invite them to be part of that group. And so they will be kind of added people, and it'll be added experience for you. However, they're not going to count as one of the 6 clients you need to do in level 2. And they will also need to commit to staying totally present to where you're at in the process, because you don't want them on call number 1 to be talking about the results of the inventory, which those people, the other people, wouldn't even know what it's about. So if they participate with you in level 2 in the group, they just need to know to kind of stay with exactly where you're at and not jump ahead. And if they participate with you one-on-one and you want to take them all the way through it, that's fine, but they will, you know, it's great experience. They just won't count as one of your 6.
Great, thanks, Monique. So the group calls, which are 3 or more people, will be done in person or by Zoom or even by conference call phone or any online reliable group call program. You could do Skype or Google Hangouts even. Now, there are different ways that you can structure your training in level 2. Some guides in training have worked with just one individual and then done a group of 5 and run those simultaneously so they can complete in 4 weeks. Now, this would be a huge commitment on your part to set up and would require you to be quite organized to do this. An example of this structure might be that you work with your individual client on Mondays, and then maybe you lead your group on Thursdays or whatever time suits you. Now, some groups in training have done 3 individuals, 1 at a time, back to back, to get comfortable with the process, and then did a group of 3 or more. So in that scenario, it would take you 9 weeks to complete the individuals and then another 3 weeks to complete your group. So that would take about 3 months to complete the whole level 2 training process. We provide you a great deal of flexibility in this portion of your training, and some of you will still be working with clients in training beyond when our 14 weeks of training calls ends. However you structure it, everyone needs to do at least one individual and at least one group, and a group means there are 3 or more in the group. Group participants all need to be on the live calls. They can't listen to a recording of your call. If they miss a call and want to continue on with the process, then you have to schedule a makeup call with them before the next group call so that they can rejoin the group to get caught up. Now, Monique, do you want to just speak to that point a little bit there? Because some people might get a little bit anxious when they get started and, you know, talking about what can happen.
Okay, well, what I'm going to suggest, Anna, why don't you carry on, go through it all, and then maybe we'll see what, we'll see what comes up.
Okay, all right. So we always encourage you to put more than the minimum number of people into your group so that if anyone has to drop out before completing, you won't need to start all over again with someone from scratch. So if you want to do one group of 3 and then 3 individuals to meet your minimum of 6, that's great. Then we want you to put at least 5 into your group. If you want to do only one individual and a group of 5, then put at least 7 into that group, again, to allow for anyone not completing. Some of you have already experienced the challenge of just getting a client to follow up with their evaluation. So you can imagine in level 2, their commitment is so much greater. So every call you do will be debriefed either on the call live or in Facebook, or we will provide those debrief questions in the Facebook group when it's time. We will review the level 2 documents and train you on how to get started on level 2 and call number 7, which is going to be in January. And then you will do your first call number 1, which is an introduction call, and making sure that they have everything that they need to get started. So really, you've got a few weeks to get at least one person to start working with. It's important not to send the digital program to anyone directly. You'll be trained on how to access the program through the back office and have it sent directly to your client from us, and we'll explain that in another call. So, in regards to sending out your invitations, we discourage you from asking people to do this just to support you. Instead, once it's ready, send the invitation out and just let them read it and see if they step up and say yes. Some won't even get through the invitation and they'll want to say yes, but please be sure that they've read through all of it. That's the only way they will understand what they're saying yes to. So you want to work with people who want this or who are even hungry for this teaching, because the commitment from them is to complete it all, and it's essential to your success. The hungrier they are to do this, the greater the chance that they're going to stick to it for the full 4 calls that you're going to be doing. And because they aren't paying to do it, the buy-in has to be their desire to know their gifts, and they will also know that it's a $247 program if they were to purchase it online. Now, that might help provide some incentive as well. The fact that they feel they need it is, however, a better reason for them to join than just because it's free. It's important they understand that their commitment to the process is what assures you of getting certified. If they don't complete, you don't complete, and you'll have to start again with someone else. So making sure they read and agree to what's in this invitation will ensure your success. So you've got time over the next 2 weeks to create your invitation and get it out and solidify your plan. Now, something that's very important is that we need to see and approve your invitation before it goes out to be sure that you've filled in all the necessary information and that it's clear. The invitation that we provide has some blanks that you need to fill, that you will need to fill in. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first invitation that you'll be sending out. So I'm going to screen share this.
And this one is for the one-on-ones.
Right. All right, there we go, the individual invitation. Can everyone see that?
And you guys, you can, if you want to move the screen out of the way, like if Dana's picture is blocking it, you can just grab it with your cursor and drag it over.
Okay, so Monique has done this very nicely for all of us. So this individual invitation would be sent out to people who would then work with you through the program one-on-one. This is not to be used if you're inviting people to be part of a group. Do not send out this invitation until we have discussed it in more detail, but start considering who you might send it to. You would remove everything in red before sending out. Read through it carefully and fully, and bring your questions to our call. Oops, next Tuesday. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. So, dear first name, I am currently in the process of becoming certified as a Sacred Gifts Guide. It is a 14-week training program. In order to complete my training, I need to lead individuals through a 3-week personal development process after our orientation introductory call. So there will be 4 calls in total. Though this program can be of benefit to anyone, you might be an ideal practicum client if you are currently not feeling on purpose and you're wondering why, want to know what a sacred gift is and which ones you do or don't have, want to understand what it takes to feel on purpose, are thinking about possibly changing your career or direction in life, are feeling frustrated, unhappy in your work or business, but not necessarily wanting to quit your job, or able to quit right now. You might want to let go of unrealistic expectations that you put on yourself, want to find more meaning in the work that you're currently doing, want to put your energy into things you enjoy doing versus activities that are life-sucking for you. Or you may want to better understand others, which will lead to better relationships at work and at home, and that you are over 21 years of age. If one or more of these points above apply to you and you would like to experience the benefit of an extremely powerful personal development program while supporting me in becoming certified, here's an overview of what to expect and the commitment involved. If you are selected as a participant, you'll receive the Sacred Gifts digital audio program by email, and it's sold online for $249. I think I just said $247. I'm not sure. We'll check on that. But it's yours free for participating. It consists of audio files that you'll be listening to and some written exercises that you'll be completing, and then we'll also have our weekly calls. Here is an overview of what you'll be doing by week by week for 3 weeks after our initial call. Read carefully and pay attention to the expected time commitment to be sure you can do this with me. So week 1, we'll start with a 45-minute orientation call with me to review the program, and then you will. So this is their homework. Listen to tracks 1 and 2, 22 minutes. Complete 2 activity worksheets, 15 minutes. Complete the Sacred Gifts inventory, 40 minutes. Listen to tracks 3 to 5, 51 minutes. And then we do a 60-minute debrief call together. So the total time commitment from week 1 is 3 hours and 45 minutes. When we move on to week 2, you'll be listening to tracks 6 to 30. So this takes 3 hours and 38 minutes. So that's a great deal of time there. Listen to track 31, 5 minutes. Transfer your scores to the Sacred Gifts key is 5 minutes. Listen to track 32 is 2 minutes. And complete the Putting It All Together worksheet is 10 minutes. And then we will do a 60-minute debrief call after you have done this homework. The total time commitment for week 2 is 5 hours. So here it's 3 hours and 45 minutes. Now it's 5 hours. In week 3, you're going to listen to track 33, 3 minutes. Complete the Reaching Out with Your Sacred Gifts worksheet is 45 minutes. And then listen to track 34, which is 5 minutes. And then after that, we'll also do another debrief call. So the total time commitment for that is 2 hours. So you can see there's quite a time commitment that you're asking for with this person. Here are a few examples of feedback from some people who have opted to volunteer for the guides in training. I just finished the program, and honestly, I don't think I can wait until Sunday to have the follow-up call with my guide. I feel empowered, and man, oh man, this energy is just about ready to burst out of me. So that's Nancy, a client from one of our guides in training. And I'm just beginning the program to discover my gifts, and my heart rate is up, up, up. I can feel that this is going to be life-changing. I'm already getting glimpses of why certain work made me just about sing with joy, while other work flattened my spirit like a deflated souffle. Wow. All right, so Sally's another client. So going on with this invitation, if you want to hear a bit more about the program before you commit, here is a 5-minute audio link to an audio introduction to the program. And all they need to do is click here, and they will go right to the download link of Monique's recording. Or they can click here for an introduction to sacred gifts. And then please let me know as soon as possible if you're interested in why you feel it might be the right fit for you to participate and the right time. And then I will also need your mailing address, phone number, and email. Thank you.
Okay, let me just clarify one thing. The reason there's 2 clicks there, one is an MP3 download. The second one is a straight click and listen. They don't have to download it. It's exactly the same audio. It's just 2 different ways that they can access it.
Okay, so are there any questions on this invitation?
It's extremely comprehensive, you guys. Like the invitation, and we've learned this through experience, right? You can see if they take the time to read this, they will totally get it. The consistent hang-ups that we find that happens for our guides in level 2 is when they don't follow the step and they're chatting with somebody over a glass of wine saying to them, oh, I really think I think you'd love this. It's, you're going to learn your gifts, blah, blah, blah. And the person's like, yeah, that sounds great. And they don't have any idea of the commitment. The other thing to keep in mind is when you hear 5 hours, it sounds like a lot. It is not a 5-hour chunk of time that they need to commit to all in one space. It's 5 hours over 7 days. So, it's a commitment of 45 minutes a day or less. Well, quite a bit less than that. So that's why we're really adamant, and we've become more adamant, and we're going to be very adamant that your clients must read this invitation top to bottom. And if you want them to reply back with a commitment, whatever it is, but you need to know that they've got to have read this and they're fully committed to it. And then we understand life can happen and things can happen. We had one lady broke her leg, and she couldn't finish the program because of all these reasons, and she had to drop out. And that's why Dana told you guys that add more people to your group to allow for the stuff of life that may happen. But that commitment, it needs to be solid going into this. It'll make your life so much easier.
Great, thanks, Monique. So I'm going to go ahead and just screen share the invitation to the group. There are some differences. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe just go to the sections that are different than the individual one.
Oops, what's happening there? There we go. So basically, this one is just saying it is the group share. With group consists of 3 or more people, and if you're only doing 2 people, then just do that as an individual program. You don't have to go into the group one at all.
You don't have to use the group script.
Right, yeah, thanks. And so what we're filling in here is just how you'll be doing it, so you're going to let people know what method you're going to use, because yeah, you can do a phone conference call as well. You don't have to be seeing people, but there certainly is a benefit to that. So
I did it straight through the phone for more than 10 years. I only ever used the telephone for 10 years of doing this. And I used the free conferencecall.com, and you can have up to 20 or more people in the group. So, there's some ways to do it where it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, thanks, Monique. So again, this is the same part. We're just asking the person, you know, does this sound like you here? And then this is the part where you're going to have to fill in some blanks, and you need to think about this very carefully, what strategy you're going to have. So it's a good idea to keep it. We will have a group session so whatever day of the week it is, at whatever time, for a total of 4 weekly sessions. And then our first session will be on, and you're going to fill in the date. And along with the group sessions, you'll be listening to an audio program and completing some simple worksheets. If you feel this is of interest to you and you would like to support me by participating, please read carefully through the expectations before you commit. So basically, it's the exact same information, but what you're doing with each call, because you've got a group, is you're reiterating the day and time that the call is going to happen. So this is what you have to fill in. So you have to do the thinking before you send out the invitation, what's going to be the best day and time for you to do it, and consider the group that you're looking at as well. So you're going to do this for each call. You're just going to confirm the day and the time. And then everything else on here is the same as Monique said. One is an MP3 and one is right to the recording. Definitely need to get their mailing address, phone, and email, and their commitment.
You can post this on Facebook. So if you don't have a database of people, you can use Facebook. You can, if you belong to a group in Facebook where you feel that, you know, many of them might be a good candidate, I would not post the entire invitation. You could post an invitation to be part of it. Tell them that you're in training, you need some clients, it's going to be over 4 weeks, and if they're interested, get their email and then send them the email, as opposed to posting the whole entire thing right into the email, into Facebook, right into Facebook comment. If you are working with people that you don't have their emails, but you'd like to invite them, you could print this and you could hand it out to them as an invitation. But at some point they have to be able to get their hands on it. If you are stuck, we've had some guides that are new in the area, or whatever their circumstances are, that they didn't have people that they felt that they could reach out to, then you can let us know. I will post it and to my community, and typically I always get plenty of responses to, and Dana could probably do the same, and we can just put it out if we need some people that are willing, to help out and stuff. So if you're short on people, we'll find some for you.
Okay, and when you're setting up your invitation for your group, avoid the temptation to want to first get replies and then get a consensus from your clients as to which day of the week works for them and what time. This can end up with 5 people giving you 5 different things, or 7 different people. I can do this, but not that. You decide. That's why Monique has put that in red. You decide what will work for you. And you have to put that day and time in the invitation, that when they read it, they can either commit to those days or times or not.
And if they can't, so if they read the whole invitation and they then get back to you and they say, oh my God, like I was able to check off every one of these, I have to do this with you, I can't make 2 of those calls, you put those people, you turn them down and you put those people on your list of potential clients after you're certified, and you can charge them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so important to keep the group going. Bruce has a question and April has a question as well. So April, go ahead. I saw your chat there. Yeah.
I just wanted to know if I've sent out level 1 invitations, but people haven't actually done it or completed it and given it back to me, can I re-invite them for level 2? Or like they've probably started it or heard at least the first audio, but I don't think they're yet or too deep into it yet, or haven't sent me the results.
Oh, I see. No,
I would be concerned about the commitment.
Yeah, any client that is working on the process right now, you need to complete it with them in level 1. So if you've sent them all the level 1 information, you have to follow through on that and complete with each one of those in level 1. You can't convert them over to level 2 at this point. If you had some people that replied to, if any of you had people that replied to your level 1 invitation and you didn't accept them because you already had too many, Those are great people to go back to and now offer them level 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thanks, Monique. Bruce, go ahead with your question.
Given the timing of when we're going to be getting into level 2, and particularly scheduling the group, if you're wanting to do it, again, either Zoom or face-to-face, virtually anytime after January 15th, anytime after what date, if I want to start to get those dates booked now?
Yeah, our call number 7 is on
January 8th.
Yeah. Is call number 7. You can't start working with them until after that call number 7, so you can start scheduling calls anytime after January 7th.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Monique.
But remember that the invitation needs to come back to us. So all you guys really have to focus on now is really planning for how you're going to do mostly your group. Your individual is going to be pretty easy. You can work with individuals. This is going to happen. You're going to have individuals that are so hungry for this. You're going to do your first call and they're going to call you 3 days later and they'll have done part 1 and they're going to want to carry on. They're going to be like, I don't want to wait till next Tuesday. Let's do the call now, because they want to keep listening to it. So, they want to keep going with it. So you will have some clients that you work with individually who will get it done much quicker than 3 weeks. And you're going to have to then be flexible to fit in a call with them so that they can keep moving forward. Providing them the structure of doing it from 1 week to the next is absolutely imperative with groups, but with individuals, you can be flexible.
Okay. That was my question, Monique, because the group that I'm thinking of, I would want to do it in person here. It's literally the senior management team of a company here in Calgary, and I'd want to do it face-to-face in a meeting.
Yeah.
And so my thinking was to give them that full week in between and to get those dates booked now. So when I send you the invitation, I want to make sure I have all my dates in the invitation for you to see the timing and everything.
That's correct. All we want to do is look at that invitation and just put a second set of eyes to it, that we can see that it makes total sense and that nothing's been missed before it goes out.
Great, thanks. So I'm just going to wrap up here then with, so next week, you'll need to come back to the call on ideas on how you want to structure your level 2 training, whether you want to do a smaller group and more individuals, or whether you want to do only a few individuals and then the rest in a group. Whether you want to work a few individuals simultaneously, back to back, whatever, you'll have to figure out your schedule. But remember, we want to see the invitation once you have completed it to suit your needs before you send it out. Now, I did post the invitations in the Facebook group and I have sent them by email as well. So any questions on that before I just go through your assignment? Nope, everything looks good. All right, so this is what I'll post this as well in the Facebook group. If you haven't done your minimum of 4 clients, do another level 1 client interview, follow up on any missing evaluations. We want you to listen to the 4 lifestyle gifts this time and come to the call next week prepared to discuss and with examples of where you've seen these gifts and actions. Examples can be taken from TV shows, your own experiences, or something that you've read about. Come to the call next week with your ideas on what your plan is for level 2. And if you feel you have a plan and you're ready to fill in the blanks on the invitation, then go ahead and do that and send that to Monique@telus.net, and Monique will review those. Once your invitations are approved, then you can start sending them out. Now, it's not essential to send your invitation out this week. However, after our call next week, we will want you to get at least 1 individual client to start working with after call number 7. And sometimes putting a group together can take a little bit longer. Our call number 7 is scheduled for January 8th, as we just said, and that's when after that, you can start working with the level 2 clients. Now, if you're listening to this recording, you need to submit your written debrief on your last client in the Facebook group, and you also need to let us know when you finish listening to the recording. Please do that. It's very important so that your progress can be tracked, and I am the one that tracks the progress. So everything's looking good so far. I like that you're doing that. I appreciate that very much. So just in closing, who would like to share?
Just one quick thing
Yeah.
I want to add,
Yeah.
Dana, that
Yeah.
for the call next week, if you guys could all please, and Dana, I've added it to your notes.
Okay.
For the call next week, if you could all please be in front of your laptop. One of the things you're going to need to do next week live on the call is we're going to guide you through on how to order the digital program for your level 2 clients. And to do that, it's very awkward to do it on a cell phone. So if at all possible, please be in front of your laptop to do that part of the program.
Great. Thanks, Monique. So anything anyone would like to share in closing? Bruce, go ahead.
Just a couple of questions. One, for that call number 7, which is January 8th, that's the week, and actually that's the date where I'm going to be taking my other daughter skiing into Whistler. Is it critical that I be on that call? Because if it is, I'll rearrange my schedule to make that call.
No.
I just want to make sure if that's critical for that.
No, now that we are videotaping, now that the calls are being recorded with video, it's fine. Now you can do the whole call with video. You'll be able to see the screen share, all of it. So no problem at all. But when you listen to the recording, you'll want to be in front of your laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And the other is, did you get Madison's evaluation? Because I know I'd sent it to her and asked her to follow up and get it to you by today. Just wondering if it had come in.
Okay. So I'll take another look. I sent them all to Dana
I
of
didn't
what,
see it, Monique.
of what we have gotten, but I hadn't gotten it, but I haven't looked at emails since we've been on this call.
Okay, I'll send
And
it.
if you guys don't get it, I know you guys are, wanting to check with me if I've got them. Just know that if I've got them, you've gotten them, or Dana's gotten them. But if I don't have it, it's because I haven't, or if you haven't gotten it from me, it's because I haven't gotten it.
And then Dana, just sharing, really excited about, I'll say level 2, and particularly doing the group session. I'm really looking forward because I'm going to get the opportunity to live. So I'm excited about that.
I can tell that. That's just great. Susan or Andrea, did you want to say anything before we close?
Thank you. I'm super duper excited to jump into the level 2 now that I know where we're headed. So thanks for this process today.
Welcome. Thank you. Susan?
Just any polite ways to get someone to do their evaluation?
Okay, so I can do that for you. So if you've already kind of chased somebody down, it didn't happen, what you can do is send me the email, and I'm very happy to send them a very polite email just saying, hey, thank you for supporting Susan. Please send me the evaluation. So feel free to do that if you like.
So it's just Lisa, right, Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas Bruce, we know Bruce would not need me to intervene on that. Bruce would just call them up and say, hey, get your butt in gear and get that evaluation, right, Bruce?
And I think we're getting a yes on that from Andrea. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay,
fun.
and I think that's it. That's a great call. Very excited for all of you. And we will have our last call for this year next week, December 18th. And then we'll have a little Christmas break. And yeah, you have lots of time to get everything set up for that level 2, which is perfect time for them as well. Like very exciting, to look at new transitions in a new year. It's really
perfect with that. And we don't have that in the invitation, obviously, because this goes out at all different times of year. But really, that's a wonderful point, Dan, is that that's a real added feature to the timing for them. I also want to say, Susan, it was super great having you live on the call. Yay! It's nice to have you here.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
It only took 5 weeks.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, that's great. All right.
And to those of you, and to those of you on the recording, just know that you're with us in spirit, and make sure you stay in touch on Facebook of exactly where you're at and what you're doing.
Yeah, and if you need anything, just reach out to Monique or myself. We're pretty good at well, I'm in Facebook every day, and Monique is as well, and just at different times. She's a night owl.
I am a night owl.
And I'm a morning person, so I'll get
I go to bed when Bruce is getting up. Yeah. I'm going to bed and Bruce is popping up on Facebook. He's getting up to do his workout, and I'm just going to bed at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, not me.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.